Welcome to an episode that I'm really excited about. Mr. Dan Aykroyd has joined me in studio. I was at the Crystal Head Vodka, we'll call it party, at the Magic Castle the other night.
Sorry, I missed you there. I'm sorry. The valet kept asking my car to move, and so I had to move my car 3 times, and then I gave up, and I didn't go back inside. I'm very sorry to miss you. It was a fun night.
Yeah, I agree, and I knew I would see you today.
So here we are.
Here we are. I've been a fan for as long as I can remember. Always watched SNL, from Jump Street, and I always respected your work because you were such a wordsmith and so concise with the way you delivered your words. I felt like you take you and Steve Martin doing the Swingin' Czech Brothers. His was a sort of comical.
I love that man.
His was a sort of over-the-top kind of almost nonsense version of it.
He's a very stylish guy, that guy.
But you were doing the accent with precision. And I always thought as a young person, I thought, man, this guy is concise. Like all the characters, even Bassomatic stuff and, Jane, you ignorant, what'd you call her?
Jane, you ignorant slut.
Slut, right. It was all...
You miserable bag of slunk meat. You miserable bag of slunk meat.
Yes.
That was Jim Downey's writing right there, though. But, to address that about
Precision.
Concision, I grew up in a government town, and my parents worked for the government, and they used to, my mother typed my papers in college, my dad wrote up a lot of papers, and I worked for the government writing papers for several departments, the Penitentiary Service, the Department of Public Works, and there was one other job that I had there where I had to write a lot of, and you had to be very concise and precise and articulate in very little time because, the average government bureaucrat above me, the attention span wouldn't be there, so you had to grab them.
Yeah. But
slurry seal. It's slurry seal asphalt. Why use it? Why not use it? Cracks in the road along our Ontario highways, and then I would, lay it all out.
Yeah, it's interesting how things that wouldn't seem to feed or lend itself to another profession do. Like
carpentry.
Yes, carpentry.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah. I learned a lot. I mean, it's like being in the military and then sort of taking things you learned in the military into the private sector.
But I must tell you, having that as a skill in your life set of skills, you'll never be replaced by AI. A carpenter will not be replaced. I don't see AI picking up a nail gun or a drill. As far as electricians and plumbers, best professions to be in, you're no way some AI robot is going to get in and do a U-pipe under a sink.
Right.
So you have that skill. I don't really have a real skill like that.
Yeah, well, you don't need it. You're super talented.
Well, thank you, sir. I've worked with great people that were great collaborators, and all the work that I did enjoy doing is from that. And I got all the right breaks in that, and I backed it up with whatever skills I do have. But to have a hard skill like that, it's quite admirable.
It's funny in Canada they call that what's under the sink a U-pipe because it's shaped like a U. I've never heard it. We call it a trap.
A trap, yeah.
Yes. But that's a Canadian versus American thing.
Get that AI robot to get out there and clean that trap. It ain't going to happen.
No, I get it. I've been pushing for this for a while, which is, when they were taking away all the trades in schools and replacing them with music appreciation. As much as I love music, playing the oboe or the cello is fine, but it's easier to make a living if you know a trade.
Well, the ideal would be for the student to go in, make his oboe in the wood shop, and go out and play it. I mean, but there's no money in schools to do any programs anymore.
So you should know that I had a recovered memory last night of going and seeing the Blues Brothers movie when it came out in Century City, where they used to have a nice big movie theater.
That's a nice screen.
And they had the Blues Brothers mobile parked in front of the theater. Mm-hmm. And there's a few movies that I talk about that are like seminal movies, like important movies. And I feel that way about the Blues Brothers. I thought you take comedy, you take music, you take action, you take all these iconic people of the Cab Callaways and Aretha Franklins and Ray Charles and stuff, and you capture them all at sort of the height of their powers. And then lots of little things in the movie that I always appreciated and always thought was funny, even when I didn't even know what I was going to do for a living. But just for instance, the scene where you're in the cafe with Aretha Franklin and Matt Guitar Murphy's in there, and you and John are sitting there at the counter, sort of not paying much attention, but then at some point get up and get into the dance and then slide back down on your stool as if nothing happened. Mm-hmm. I just thought that was like weird little pieces of genius interspersed in that movie.
I have a crystalline memory of that exact moment the first time we were rehearsing it. First of all, we had Carlton Johnson, who was the Temptations choreographer. So
oh, really?
We had the best there. And I remember being there, sitting and just turning on the stool and just watching Aretha. And when she started to sing and started to move, she looked so cute. A combination of amusement and awe just hit my stomach, and I froze. I was paralyzed watching her do her dance and her commencement of singing that part. And then I see John starting to move, and it was like Marshall Earp when he drew his 6-gun. Mm-hmm. You know, time stopped. He said, the reason I was able to get a bullet out as soon as the barrel left the holster was because I took my time. Mm-hmm. I took my time. And that was a slow moment for him in his gunfights, and for me, a very slow moment where I didn't think I would be able to get off. I thought my knees would buckle. Then John moved, and then I overcame it, and then we did it. But I was awed by her talent, and it paralyzed me.
Yeah,
that moment.
I love the Ray Charles scene. I love that song. I love There's No Action in
that
these
song
keyboards.
was written by Philadelphia songwriters. I don't recall who, but Ray didn't write that song, Shake a Tail Feather. But we needed that song at that point in the movie for that type of energy as a dance number, also to feature him on the keyboards. And so Ray was such a good sport. He recorded 2 songs for films that I did, where he was so great, and you know, there's nothing wrong with the action on this piano. You know,
I love that line.
And he plays, and we had to record the song with him. He coached us through the vocals all the way through. He was our producer, basically, on that track. And also for the film that I directed with Chevy and Demi Moore and John Candy, which I like, called Nothing But Trouble.
Sure.
He recorded Tony Bennett's The Good Life for me, you know, and so that was such a pleasure to work with him in the studio, and then to have him just nail it on film, you know. Yeah, so you gotta thank the city of Chicago, African American culture first, the city of Chicago, African American culture first, the city of Chicago, and John Landis really for what that movie really became, because John is a true cineast, and it needed his hand desperately from the original concept to have a real filmmaker come in there and make that movie. You know, the scene where the Bluesmobile falls apart and at Cook County Building, and we're about to run in, he just cuts away to 2 statues there, you know, ruminating,
yes,
looking down. Just that. So the work of a master. Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I was doing my homework last night about the Blues Brothers. I was looking at the cast, and you were young. You were 28, I believe. But I was
27 when we started.
I was completely blown away that Matt Guitar Murphy was 51. That's insane, because
he looked 30.
The whole band looked to be about 30 at the time. Steve Cropper and Donald Duck Dunn and all that. And the idea that Matt Guitar Murphy, who looked to be in better shape than everyone in the cast,
he worked out. You know, he pushed weights.
Was in his 50s when he did that. That's the greatest black don't crack example on the planet.
Garrett Morris is another one.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so true. Yeah, it's so true.
He looked the same age as everyone.
And I have a friend named Bobby Rush. He's getting up to almost 100 years old.
The singer?
Bobby, yes, singer, harp player, dancer, composer, writer, superstar. Veteran of the Chitlin circuit. Oh, I love Bobby. Love him. Yeah. So another example. He's so youthful and so handsome, and yeah, God, it was. The Blues Brothers. John was superb in that film, Belushi. The scene where we leave the country and western bar, and we haven't paid for the beer, and so John's little speech walking across the. Sir, well, I usually, I go and the way we do this is I go to my brother's car and I take out my checkbook and I put it on something like that. You put it on the dashboard.
He put it on the lid of the glove box.
The lid of the glove box.
That's where I make my checks out.
That's where I make my checks out and I put it, and it's so meticulous. And then we get in and he was just beautiful the way he played that scene. And so then we take off and that movie I'm proud of. That's a triple A. I'm happy about that one.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of funny movies and there's plenty of serious movies, but there's not as many important movies. To me, that was an important movie. I just thought that was my take on it, even at first blush. So it must have been hard to make.
All movies.
But this concept is sort of bizarre to explain to a studio.
Oh, you'd never make it today. They would say, excuse me, what? Catholic? What? Wait a minute, hold on. Wrecking so many cars and what? Well, no. Practically no CGI, I don't know. No, they wouldn't do it.
By the way, I should definitely throw out a plug. CrystalHeadVodka.com is where you go for about the purest vodka you're ever going to put in your gullet. It's delicious.
I believe so. I really do believe so. I wouldn't come in here and tell you a lie about that because there's no fusel oils in it, no glycerin, no sugar, no limonene at all. A lot of other products do it to mask the smell and scent of alcohol. Open that up, it smells just clean ethyl alcohol, and it's made in Canada, and I'm quite proud of it. And purity is a good word you can use for it. And I just wanted to build something better for the home bar. And it's our bottles are unique, made by John Alexander. They can search engine him. He's a Texas sculptor and painter, one of my best friends. We met when my beautiful girlfriend dumped me for him.
Really?
Yeah, in '74. Rosie Schuster, the writer on Saturday Night Live.
Was your girlfriend?
She was, yeah.
And she dumped you
and she
for
dumped
him?
me for John Alexander, and then John and I became good friends and started this company. So that's our bone bottle. That's corn, peaches and cream corn. Their black is made out of blue Weber agave that is made from the plant that tequila is made out of. Now there's no other tequila, no other vodka made out of the tequila plant that we know of. So you could do anything you want. Margaritas or that with it. It's very long and earthy. And the corn again is dry, crisp, vanilla sweet. And then we got the wheat bottle there, the iridescent bottle. That's sunset wheat. That's more of a peppery, anise kind of flavor, and you'd have a good margarita out of that. And then our spatter or our pride bottle at that season of the year. But we should all be proud all the time. But at this pride season of the year, we do in June we do bottles, and that was one that. We did a survey and there was a contest, and that design was come up with. It's very Jackson Pollock and kind of Jasper Johns.
Yeah, there's a lot of vodka out there, but this is a conversation piece.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This isn't for drinking in the park alone out of a bag.
Oh, I don't know.
You could.
I would say you can drink it with 5 people. I wouldn't drink it alone.
I'm saying.
I think is there a park and is there a bag? And there's 1, 2, 3,
there's
4,
enough
5.
of
Let's
us.
go.
Yeah, and it's good because
I put it on ice.
I was drinking it all Monday night at the event.
Yeah, it's tasty. It's tasty. Yeah, I'm proud of it. I really am. It's made in Canada. I love going around the world and saying that. I like Canada, where I was born, and where I live part of the year. And and it's great to be living in the Western world. There's an old blues song. Oh, this world is in an uproar. Things all going wrong. The way the Reds is cutting up. We ain't gonna be here long. I'm gonna dig myself a hole. Move my baby down underground. When I come up, ain't gonna be no wars around. Had a friend from Israel in the other day, from Tel Aviv. He stayed at the farm, and he said, Dan, what is it like to live in a land where there's no war? This question, here I am, in my 1932 Pierce Arrow 1604 limousine, driving him for a little ride. And
16-cylinder.
No, 12. But
12.
Pierce didn't make it 16, but the Cadillac
did a 16.
And I believe Packard did as well.
Yes.
And here I am driving through the bucolic countryside. And in the
Are we
car,
in Canada?
Yeah,
or are we
in Canada.
In the
We're in
United States?
Canada. Mm-hmm. In Canada, I'm this summer. I'm in the Pierce. We're driving to the drugstore to get an ice cream, and he tells, "What is it like to live in a country without war?" And I thought, boy, do I take things for granted, around this place.
Well, unfortunately, the way we're wired is when we're out of real problems, we just find problems and call them problems. We're on a constant quest for problems, but our problems are not the world's problems, and they would love to have our problems. Let's say I mean U.S. and in Canada. So we just move on to, we got a male who's a biological male, and he's swimming against females, and that's our war. We create, we'll find it.
Yeah.
It's the rich Beverly Hills housewife syndrome. Oh, what a disaster today was. The pedicure and the manicure van that came by was 20 minutes late, and then the sushi was dry. It's horrible. Yeah, but that's what
these are real crises to real people. Yeah, it helps distract, I suppose. But I think, God, what are we going to do? We just have to have positive eyes out there, the cone of positivity, and we have to get with like minds to try to do something about all of us, and just be kinder to everywhere in humankind. I don't know if we're going to require some kind of Deus ex machina intervention from somewhere to smarten us humans up, because we're a pretty heinous species right now, generally.
Well, as you and I were talking about off the air, and as I've brought up a million times, I never thought in the year 2023 we'd be dealing with human trafficking and tunnels under borders and, terrorism and fentanyl. and squalor and poverty. And I thought we'd be flying around in George Jetson's, car, and everyone would be wearing a Mylar jumpsuit, and it'd be some sort of utopia because war was behind us.
Hoverboards, I guess. Yeah, there are pockets of the world that are at peace, and there is harmony. Santa Monica, California, harmony, peace, joy by the sea. It's beautiful there. Beautiful houses and beautiful shops and lovely wide boulevards and 60,000 homeless.
Right.
So the underside and the overside will always be there. We're living in, frankly, medieval times. I drive very carefully in the car. I don't drive at certain hours at night, have a gated place to live, lock up at night, bring my family close. Whereas I would like to take my family and let them run in the park at 1 in the morning.
Yeah, with a bag and a bottle.
Well, hopefully, yeah. But no. We have to be so guarded now.
Well, what we're living in, especially in California, is you have Jay-Z and Beyonce buy $200 million house in Malibu, but in order to get there, you have to drive through a homeless encampment.
They got a deal, by the way. It's worth $700. So,
So that's where we're at, with just ultra rich, and then people just expiring on the streets in squalor.
Well, thankfully, knowing people like that, they're going to drive through their driveway, see that, and immediately start to act to try to alleviate and help in some way, because that's the kind of people they are. There are other owners of $200 million mansions in the world that I don't think would think the same way.
So I was reading up on you, and I saw Asperger syndrome, and I saw some.
That's a self-diagnosis. I was never.
All right.
That's me. That's me going, well, why do I do this sometimes, and why do I do that, and reading books but I've had no medical opinion formally. I've had no one, have never had a doctor say it to me. It's just
no. I know. I've been described. I've had it foisted on me, but I've never had been diagnosed officially. And I'm not sure if you can officially totally diagnose it, but I have some questions for you. Do you have hypervigilance disorder?
I am vigilant. I am aware. But I don't think I'm hypervigilant or paranoid. But I'm definitely aware of surroundings, of vehicles, of being followed sometimes. Aware that make sure that doesn't happen. Walking in a big city, someone clocks me because of my profile or they know the face. I immediately become aware of that, and I'm ready for the encounter, whether gentle or not.
Right. No, I have that too. It's not paranoia. It's just a sort of noticing of everything.
Oh, and I think I tell my daughters always, be aware of where you are, who's watching you as you go from your door to your car. What car is familiar the next day? Is it that one always there? Is that a neighbor or, and when you go in at night, get in quickly, lock the door, don't dawdle with the groceries, and and be aware.
But one of the things that I've realized when I talk to people who have this sort of hypervigilance thing, one of the markers for it is sleep. It's when you sleep, do you have to have some white noise going? Do you have to have an eye shade on? Does the room have to be cool and dark? Because I know people who can just fall asleep on any airplane on their back
Jimmy
holding a
Belushi,
drink.
there he is, flip-flops, in commercial, tiny little bag, dog. Now he travels with, and the eye shades, and he can do it right just like that. I
Envious.
No, yeah.
But what about you?
Cool and dark for sure. I like that much better. Don't have to have the white noise. Don't want any clock radios near me. Usually a good book will put me out.
So you don't need like the ceiling fan going even during the winter time.
No, I don't like fans. And in fact, that that was a big contention in my marriage with Donna.
You don't like fans.
I don't like fans or air conditioning. She's from the South, Southern girl, loved them, and we had a lot of squabbles over that. I'd turn it off when she'd go to sleep, then she'd wake up and put it back on.
I got to say, this is an all-time first. And the reason is guys normally get married to the fan, and women say it's too cold. I've never seen the script flip.
No, not for Miss Donna. No way. No. But I do like a book, and I like quiet and dark and cool. And I am so fortunate that even with the multiple times that I arise to urinate at night, I can get right back to REM Delta within a minute or two. And I have deep, beautiful REM Delta episodes, 45 minutes to 50, sometimes a little longer, mini ones spurt. And I wake up and I feel extremely rested because when when you're dreaming, you're in REM Delta. You're out when you're dreaming. You could put a pin and you wouldn't feel it.
So let's go back with you a little bit. What do you think you're going to be doing when you're in high school? What's the plan, if there is a plan?
In high school,
when you were in high school.
When I was in high school.
Yeah. What'd you think you'd be doing for a living?
Oh, well, I was studying. Well, I didn't really know in high school. I'd done some plays and I'd done some theater, and it was fun and that. But I knew you can't make a living at doing show business. Not if you're in Ottawa. There's no way to make a living in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And now that's changed. There's a big film industry up there and lots of actors and a big community. But then there were very few outlets. I did plays. I worked with Ottawa Little Theater. But I thought, as a profession, how? No. So I worked and apprenticed at the Solicitor General of Canada Penitentiary Service as a clerk. And I looked at Carleton University, and I looked at some of the courses, abnormal psych, deviant psych. So I thought I was headed towards a career in corrections, and probably would have ended up as a low-grade prison guard, drinking with my buddies, at the local tavern and going into work and trying to get through the hell of working in a federal prison.
And was the comedy always kind of in you, but you just hadn't realized it? And the environment wasn't conducive to realizing it?
No, it was. My parents were very funny, and there was always humor there. And I did take some improv classes, and I had very funny friends in high school who were great influences on me, really absurdists and, monologists. And I took a lot of the characters out of high school and sort of, and I used them kind of later on, just in terms of the rhythm of speech. And my uncles were very funny. Do you know that Great Outdoors, the movie I made with Candy?
Sure.
Yeah. So that character, Roman Craig, is my Uncle Peter and my Uncle Andy. That's, that. They chop like Burt Lancaster. They chop the words like that. There's always, if something's going to come out of the mouth, it's going to be precision. You're going to hear it. It'll be loud. Make sure they're heard. That you could say, can you make sure I'm heard, or can you pass the salt? Pass the salt and get it over here now. It's that clipped. So
I recently saw Uncle Buck for some reason about 2 weeks ago, and I thought, I miss John Candy. There's certain performers, you never want anyone to go before their time, but there are certain ones I don't need. John Candy, when he passed, I was like, oh, I mean, look, the two Johns, Belushi and Candy, those guys were like, oh, man, I'm going to miss these guys. There's a lot of work ahead of those guys.
I know. I think about it often.
Did you know John Candy well?
Oh, yeah, we made The Great Outdoors. And also, he was in the Blues Brothers. If you remember, he played Burton Mercer, the parole officer. And
he was the guy. Let's see.
The parole officer.
Yeah, Orange Whip.
That was
Orange
Candy,
Whip.
Yeah. And we did Second City together in Toronto, so we were very old friends. In fact, when the first day we met, he was a Kleenex salesman for Kimberly-Clark. Turned out he was a master of clothes. He was always turned out beautifully. The beige blazer and the beige, pants and brown shoes and the beige Pontiac Laurentian to match, and he sold Kleenex for Kimberly-Clark. And on the first day we met, and I was a mail truck driver in Toronto, so we were both, working in other things that we didn't think would lead into show business. But then we auditioned for Second City and got into that first Toronto company with Gilda Radner, Jerry Salzberg, Eugene Levy, and then eventually Catherine O'Hara. Our teachers were Joe Flaherty and Brian Doyle Murray.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you always see something in him like you went, oh, he's got the goods?
Oh, no. Everyone loved Aunt Candy, as we used to call him. He was such a great host. He'd be the one to leave the humbugs like your aunt have out at Christmas, the little candies, and, always soliciting a drink, get a drink for you. Johnny Toronto, Johnny LaRue for sure. Of course, we always started in sort of, at the day we met, doing voices and people from our past, and we were of like mind, and went on to a great friendship until he died because he had a congenital heart defect. Plus, he did like to drink, but it wasn't so much that; it was the thing that killed his dad very early.
Did you have that same kinship when you first met with John Belushi? Did you feel like like when I met Jimmy Kimmel, I was like, oh, this guy's the guy.
I know, you're great buddy, great pals.
I got to stay close to this guy.
Great. That's
great.
great.
And I recognized it in him, even though I was a
it's
carpenter.
Love. Let's be honest, it's love. I mean, you love him, and
I do,
and he loves you.
Yes.
What a great thing to have a friend like that.
But I didn't feel that with a lot of people. I meet a lot of people, and I go, okay, this is not going to go on forever.
No, it's the 3 to 10 minute rule. You give them 3 to 10 minutes, and if they can't engage, if you don't feel engaged by then they should move on with their lives.
Right. So we had a mutual feeling, even though he wasn't doing much. He was doing local sports on a FM radio station out here, and I was doing nothing. I wasn't in show business at all. I was a boxing coach. But we met each other, and we're like, this is something, and we got to do something with this. And if you're lucky enough, you'll have a few of those in your life.
Yeah.
Was it that with Belushi?
It was. First night I met him, it was a blizzard, February, Second City Fire Hall. We heard legendary Belushi coming up to recruit for National Lampoon. He wanted to get Gilda to go down there to the radio show. And so we hosted him at Second City. And the first moment I saw him, he opened the door to the alley. He flung the door open, walked in, completely inadequately dressed for the weather, in a cable knit sweater and a silk scarf around his neck and a driver's cap, that octagonal Lee J. Cobb type driver's cap, that you see in the old movies, and jeans and white sneakers and a pack of butts in his hand and smoking one. And he made an entrance such as a great actor should enter a room. And, as impactful as I'm sure he would have wanted it to be, even though he wasn't conscious of it being impactful. And then that night, I think he did some favorites. He hit the wall. He did, The Angel. He did Cocker, I think, and he did Lee J. Cobb. He did a lot of great stuff that we'd heard about that he'd done in Chicago. And we, that very night, went back to my after-hours club at 505 Queen Street East, the Speakeasy, and there was a record there playing Straight Up by Downchild Blues Band, and he asked me, that's really good music. I said, well, John, you're from Chicago, you know about blues. He said, yeah, but that vocalist is good, and that harp, and that, and I said, well, it's blues, just good old blues. He said, I'm into heavy metal, mainly, Grand Funk and Cream, and I said, well, that all comes from the blues, as you know, and he really listened to that record. And by God, we came up with the Blues Brothers that very night. Like, well, we should put a band together. I said, you sing, I play a little harp, come on. And by the time I got to Chicago, to New York to do SNL, he had a stack of records that come up high as the desk here. And he started to do his research.
Into the blues.
Into the blues. And so from that, we built the act. So the very first night we met, we got to see his comedy firsthand and get to know the guy and come up concoct the Blues Brothers. So that was pretty.
What sold him on you?
I think the love of the music and just the kind of anarchy of the way I lived. I lived below this Speakeasy on a main street. 505 Queen had a store window there, and so we ran the bar wide open, like people. You could look in and see. A full open, unlicensed bar running there. And I slept downstairs and sometimes upstairs. And just the people we had coming and going, the artists, the scene, he liked that. And I think he saw also kind of a soul and a creative spirit that maybe needed a little guidance and rescuing, and that was me.
Well, I want to talk about the formation of the Blues Brothers and the band and Booker T and the MGs and all that stuff. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with Dan Aykroyd right after this. Let me tell you about Meter. The holidays are here, and we get to stuff our faces, and we get to shop. So I got a must-have tool for you. If you love cooks and you love cooking, and there's a cook in your life, well, this is the perfect gift. Meter. Smart Meat Thermometer tracks the temperature of your meat and lets you know when it's ready to come out of the oven, the smoker, the air fryer, or the grill. That's right. It's a beautiful piece of technology. It's, we've all overcooked stuff and it's too dry, and undercooked stuff, and everyone got botulism. None of that with Meter. Now, don't overcook, don't undercook. Get that turkey just right. And what about that holiday prime rib? That's right. Meter comes with cloud service for limited range, and you can monitor and cook while watching TV or even running to the store. You can keep an eye on what you're doing. You have to keep walking back and forth and checking it. It's a perfect tool for holiday cooking. It's a perfect gift. It's Meter, right, Dawson?
Shop Meter.com for the best kitchen tool out there and make this season stress-free. Use it for your holiday cooking or start shopping for your Christmas gifts. That's MEATER.com.
Simply Safe. There's no wrong time to protect your home, but this fall, well, that's an especially good time because you can get up to 50% off a brand new Simply Safe home security system. Best home security system of 2023, so says U.S. News and World Report. We've always used these guys. They've been with us for a million years. They're a great company. Stuff works, very ergonomic. Set it up yourself, and it's fast. 24/7 professional monitoring, under $1 a day, half the cost of traditional home security systems. Money back guarantee. You get a 60-day risk-free trial. If you don't love it, return your entire system for a full refund and for a limited time. Save 50% off of any new system with Fast Protect plan. Visit Simply Safe. That's right. SimplySafe.com simplysafe.com, 2 I's in there, simplysafe.com/Adam. Get that 50% off. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
It's time for Nicaraguan Name That Movie with Adam's buddy Oswaldo. See if you can guess which movie this famous line is from.
We're on a mission for God.
If you said the Blues Brothers,
We're on a mission from God.
You're correct. Now, back to the show.
Dan Aykroyd is in studio. Crystal Head Vodka is a wonderful product that
Thank you.
Dan has created, and I'm here to tell you it's the real deal because I sampled my share of it at the party at the Magic Castle the other night. So it's wonderful, and you can go to crystalheadvodka.com and treat yourself. So I was doing a little research, and I didn't know that the Blues Brothers had the Booker T and some of the Booker T and the MGs in it, and so I was looking up Steve Cropper and Donald Duck, Dunn, and and so then how did you cherry pick those guys? How did the band form? And these are some of the best musicians in the world.
Well, particularly Cropper and Dunn were Otis Redding's guitar players, and they played on all of the Stax Volt hits. Mm-hmm. So Schaefer and Malone and I and Ruben and
Paul
John,
Schaefer?
Yeah, Paul Schaefer. Basically, they were the first sort of house band when we warmed up the audience. First couple of times, we walked in the door with the concept. We already had the uniforms. We already had what we were going to do. The concept of front men fronting great musicians. Schaefer, Ruben, Malone, and Marini were the band at that point. And then Malone said, "You guys, you should get in touch with Cropper and Dunn." And I'm like, wait a minute, hold, Cropper and Dunn of Stax Volt, like they're going to want to have anything to do with us. And Malone said, "Oh yeah, they know that you're doing this with veneration for the venerables and the veterans. They know you're doing it out of respect and love for the music, and a desire to showcase it and revive it in some sense. And they're two of the best guitar players in the world. Reach out." We did, and they joined us, and that really made the Blues Brothers happen as a coalesced entity, to have Duck Dunn driving the band with his bass in concert with Steve Jordan, our 19-year-old drummer at the time, who was now the Stones drummer.
Oh, he is now.
Yeah. So to have those two driving the band with Steve on rhythm and lead guitar, and then Matt Murphy on essentially, Chicago blues lead. We had a Memphis-Chicago fusion band that, well, it couldn't be stopped until John died. We were still doing stuff, and we were going to do more.
Yeah, they. By the way, I don't know if they're great actors, but they pulled it off in the movie. They
did.
They all absolutely pulled it off.
In both movies.
Yeah.
And the second one is a small G, good, comparable product to the first, because the soundtrack of the second one is quite outstanding. Erykah Badu's worth the price of admission, and there's a lot of good stuff in that too. And they pulled off the acting, and they came back and they looked the same. And by the way, Fat Me looked the same as well in that movie. I did lose the weight, and I hold the two of them up, and I go, not bad.
Yeah.
For many years later, however it was.
So John passed out here in Los Angeles in
Bungalow 3 at the Chateau Marmont.
82.
82, March 5th, 82.
82. Yeah, I remember where I was. I remember when John Lennon died,
do.
and I remember when Belushi died.
I was on stage with Marshall Tucker Band when Lennon was
Heard
shot.
It in the Love Song. Is that his song? Heard It in the Love
Yeah, I think so.
Song.
For some reason, I got up to play harp, and I walked off stage, and Ron Deltzner, the great promoter, said, John Lennon's been shot. And of course, you think, John Lennon, well, he's a god. He'll, whatever they shot him with, they'll pluck it out, and he'll be walking around. Just because he was shot doesn't mean he dies. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. And in Belushi, of course, I remember when I heard about that, I was writing Ghostbusters at our office in New York very early one morning there. And Bernie Brillstein called and told me what had happened. And then I thought, oh, I got to get to Judy right away. I can't have her hearing this on the radio, the TV, or seeing it in a newspaper. So I ran from 20th Street down to Morton Street, down Fifth Avenue, and I ran over to Judy, and I had to tell her, which was one of those, moments, a crystalline moment again, that took courage, and that will remain with me forever. But it had to be done. I couldn't have the media telling her first.
It was back when there was some lead time before the evening news.
Not much, I'll tell you. I ran.
Well, not much, but not Twitter. I mean, now it's right there.
Of course, that right. But the newspapers had already hit the sidewalk. I ran by, and I'm there. Belushi dead at 33, right there in a bundle of the Daily News.
Wow.
Or the New York Post.
But she hadn't seen it yet.
No, she hadn't seen it. No, thank God.
They're married, right?
Childhood sweethearts, high school sweethearts.
What was her reaction?
Well, a big part of her world ended, but she's strong, and she always was strong and still strong today. And she just picked up his legacy and helped to keep the thing alive, and went on to meet a new guy and get close to his family. And her strength, and I think her Midwestern style resilience, and also, in a way, she sort of knew it was coming, or there was going to be a disaster related to his appetites, and there was maybe a bit of mental preparation that she had for it. But it was a rough one. You can imagine.
You were writing Ghostbusters
For him.
Oh, he was going to be.
I was writing a line for him.
Writing a line for Belushi.
Writing
when you
a
heard.
line. Well, yeah.
What part was he going to play?
He was just going to be, one of the poor schlumps that has to go out and do this horrible extermination job. Just, one of four of us. He would have found his voice. I was really, really just writing a template for him, and then we were, of course, going to find, we'd find our voice there as we began to work on it. I was waiting for him to come back to New York.
Man, writing an actual line for him.
Yeah. He was supposed to come back that next week, but
I have.
Yeah, that's the fentanyl today is what's destroying so many people, and and nobody cares. The people who ship it up here, they don't care. But he had it was a cocaine heroin mix speedball, they call it, and that because he'd been drinking and he was smoking, and his respiratory was weakened a little bit, and the woman who injected him did not mean to kill him any more than I did. I mean, we don't, it was not not something she wanted to happen. It's just a tragedy and a result of drugs of that order being the currency of the day, which they were back then. Powders and pills were strong, Mandrax and Quaaludes and
people didn't even really think cocaine was bad for you back then.
No.
They'd break it out at every party.
Yeah.
It was sort of a...
It's today still.
Yeah, I guess
it's big today still. But a lot of heart attacks and stuff in hospital rooms from that today,
I have a Ghostbusters question.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so uniquely qualified to answer this. Because now, Dawson, you got to find the Bar-Kays song. So Reitman, he directed Ghostbusters?
He did and helped write it and produced it, yeah.
I worked on a project with Reitman and Jimmy Kimmel for a while, and I found Reitman to be tough.
Oh, one of the toughest.
Old-time
movie mogul.
Like, pretty much got in your face, sort of told you... he would tell me and Jimmy, go change this in the script and go change that, and then meet me up at my house in Santa Barbara, and we'll go over it. And we'd come back, and he'd go, did you change this? And he'd change that. And we'd go, well, we'd worked a little bit. And he'd go, why are you fucking wasting my time? Jesus Christ, what are we doing here? I mean, he would literally start yelling at us in his
Well,
office.
He was paying for your services.
He was.
He was sponsoring your vision, and
we didn't take offense to it, but I realized this guy's tough.
Well, he was, and I hope he's resting in a realm that we can reach him soon. he was he was exacting and meticulous, and no one could feel an audience better in terms of cutting a movie or putting a movie together. No one could feel an audience comedy nerves better than Ivan. No, he was classic old school Louis B. Mayer, type executive and mogul. Yeah.
So the question that you're uniquely qualified to answer, which is, I know Huey Lewis well, and I know there was the whole lawsuit with Ray Parker Jr.,
Right.
and then I Want a New Drug, and I guess they went to Huey first song, and he didn't provide it, so Ray Parker did one, and then there was a lawsuit because Ray Parker's Ghostbusters sounded something like I Want a New Drug.
It did. There's certain figures in there, we would say, that were exactly like Want a New Drug, and they settled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, my feeling is My Sweet Lord and He's So Fine don't sound the same to me. That was another famous
Well, those
lawsuit.
two, there was a similarity there.
You think so?
I believe so, and there was a settlement.
So
and
do
Huey
we-
Lewis was basically paid as if he would have had a sample in there, I think.
Now you got to find,
That doesn't
Ray
take
Parker
away.
Jr.
Yeah, it doesn't take away from the Ghostbusters hit.
No, it was a huge hit.
And Ray is so talented. He's one of the best guitarists I've ever heard in my life.
Ray Parker.
Yeah, Ray Parker.
But I think long before this, the Bar-Kays had a song that sounded more like Ghostbusters
Really?
than I Want a New Drug. Have you
what-
ever heard that?
No, what song is that?
Well, we'll
I don't
listen.
know.
We'll listen to Ghostbusters first. So I was always like, sorry, Huey, but the Bar-Kays have a song called Soulfinger that predates I Want a New Drug by 15 years, and that to me sounds like closer to Ghostbusters.
Huey's song didn't have the chorus in it.
Yeah,
It did? Huey's song?
I don't-
Want to do drug? I don't think it did.
I don't think it did either. I don't know if you
But
know
it definitely
Huey,
had
but
that
great
same
guy.
rhythmic guitar pattern.
As they went to Huey first. If they went to the Bar-Kays first, then maybe the Bar-Kays would have a case.
Yeah.
But it's haunted me for many a year, and I'm glad you're here to hear
Well,
it.
it was such a giant hit, and it's such a great song that, my view is, however it came together, and Huey did get compensated, although the Bar-Kays didn't. And you would have them. It sort of overrode any concerns and just went on to be something that is instantly associated with a good time.
How's Bill Murray? I don't know if you know him well.
The Hurricane?
Yeah, the Hurricane. I find him so interesting.
You
Yeah.
and 6.8 other billion people on this planet.
Yes. But
Yeah.
is there something we don't know about him?
He deserves your interest and your sense of him being an enigma and sense of him, being unpredictable. Your any kind of opaque view you have of him, it's all justified. He, whether however you view him, he is. He's all of everything. He's all of those things. He's like Sai Baba. He's all of that, and that is that.
Yeah. Well,
He's a demigod. I believe. I think he's demi-divine. Honestly.
Really?
Yes. And I get to hang with him from time to time. But as I say, just whatever your perceptions are of Billy, whether good or bad or beautiful or alarming, in your interactions with him or perceptions of him, public persona and work, the way you've enjoyed his work over the years, it's all genuine. And, he's a giant talent and really fun to be with because it's a hurricane. It's, a whirlwind. And he would give you not only the shirt, but the skin off your back, off his back. The skin off his back. He would give you the skin off his back. Yeah.
So early days of SNL, did you guys feel like it was almost week to week? Nothing had been established. Now they're on year 40 or something. But I mean, at the beginning,
They're at 50
50. Yeah, right.
next year, 2025.
Crazy.
Yeah.
At the beginning, were you guys? You didn't have that feeling of security, did you?
No, indeed not. I didn't know whether it would last past the first 3 shows. But wisely, Lauren said, no, I'm not going to do 1 pilot or 2 or 3. I need 7. I need 7. So by him holding to get the 7, by then, once that 7th show happened, then it was realized that it was going to work. But up until then, none of us knew, and Lauren, I don't think even knew, because you don't know in that business. You could say he was pretty sure of himself and his ability to pull it off, and so he asked for 7 and got that, and that kind of set it up. If there had been only 1 show or 2, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened.
When you left, was it just because you want to broaden your horizons, you want to do features and that sort of stuff?
No, purely Blues Brothers. We had to finish the movie. That was the sole reason we left. Is because we had a lovely time in Chicago that summer, and then come fall, we're still shooting, and there's work to be done in the stages out in Universal, and we just couldn't do both, and so it was time to leave. But that is the sole reason, not really to do movies or to get into that business. It wasn't why we left, other than specifically to finish that 1 movie and then see where things went from there. But our sole focus was just getting that done and out. So we couldn't do both.
And you guys then toured after that.
We did. We toured by car and by one of Elvis's planes, an old Convair 880 that he had.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the interior of that plane like?
It was,
a lot of burgundy?
Nevada, yeah, casino, casino Nevada look. I think it had been refitted since he used it. So we had a wonderful 20-city tour with the band, and we filled 10,000-seat houses and got to sing and play the music live, and it was.
The album was, I don't know if it was number 1, but it was definitely a hit.
Well, the first album, Briefcase Full of Blues, was a number 1 album. It sold over 4.5 million copies back then. Rihanna would be happy with those numbers today, or maybe not, but close to it. Those were, impressive numbers back then and even today. Because the album was good, because the record was good, the songs were good, the band was great. People understood that, John and I were front men for this great band. Made in America was the tour record, and there's some great songs on there, too.
Oh, I had that album.
Yeah.
Now Dawson's got to find something I should have told him before.
Well, going back to Miami is one of the greatest cuts I think we ever did. That features the horns beautifully.
I'll tell you one that features the horns beautifully. She Caught the Katy.
Yeah, Taj Mahal's tune. Yeah, Taj Mahal's tune. Sure. Yeah.
I love that song. I love your version of that song. This is some horn work here.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. And we played in the prison yard at Joliet Prison for about 8,000 to 10,000 people that were spilled out of the parking lot at a beautiful concert at night, right there in the prison yard where we shot the movie.
In the prison?
In the prison yard when we shot the movie. Now it's abandoned. It's now
right.
a tourist.
It's like
under
Alcatraz.
construction for tourists. Yeah. But wow, what a night that was. Just beautiful. Kind of bring it all full circle there. We have quite an extensive tour schedule coming up. We'll be playing in Oklahoma in July, in Atlanta in January, in Delaware in June, and things we just did this big gig in Nebraska at the Performing Arts Center there, and it's great to be able to still play and act as cultural preservationists, which is what we are.
Well, you certainly brought the blues to a young white guy from North Hollywood, for sure, because there was no blues culture in North Hollywood, California, where I grew up. I just hadn't heard of any of it. So, in a way, that's it's an accomplishment, but it's also a service. You know what I mean? I wouldn't know She Caught the Katy. I just wouldn't go that deep.
I'm happy to say that I have people coming up to me all the time saying that, that they picked up guitar or drums or harmonica, that they got into blues and they play in a blues band, or they went on to a career in blues, some of them quite well known. So, Yeah, I guess we served it. We served in that way, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to serve. Mission from God for sure. Still on it, because there are no blues stations other than Sirius XM radio.
Yeah.
There are no blues shows anymore. I had almost 25 years of the House of Blues Radio Hour and Elwood Bluesmobile Hour, and I was able to sell tickets and records and talk the careers up of all these wonderful new artists coming up. I couldn't tell you now who's in their mid-20s and touring and playing because I lost my radio show. They turned it into country talk or something.
Yeah, I remember when you picked up John from the prison, and he was pissed off that you'd traded in the Bluesmobile.
For a microphone.
Well, once he heard it was a microphone, he was okay with it.
Yeah. The Cadillac, trade the Cadillac for a microphone. That's right, yeah. And he didn't like the lighter, yeah.
All right, we'll take a break. We got one more segment with Dan Aykroyd, and we'll do that right after this. Let me tell you about Angie Homeowners. You know, it's a lot of work to own a home. Whether it's everyday maintenance, repairs, or dream projects, it can be hard to even know where to start. All you need is Angie, your home for everything home. Find a skilled local pro who will deliver quality and experience. Over 20 years of home service experience. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie handles the rest. Look, you're busy. You don't have time to do all this stuff. Let Angie handle it. Take care of just about any home project in just a few taps. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit online. Visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com. ANGI.com. That's Angie. Let them do all the heavy lifting. Hey, I don't know if you guys know, but it's See Better, Drive Safer month now at O'Reilly Auto Parts. They have put a spotlight on items to help you see the road more clearly. All month long, receive gift cards after rebate on select wiper blades and bulbs. If your wiper blades are streaking and smearing, well, they're worn out and they need to be replaced. But good news, you can get up to a $20 O'Reilly gift card after rebate with purchase of select wiper blades. Their professional parts people will install your new wiper blades and they'll do it for free. See the road better with new bulbs? Get up to a $15 O'Reilly gift card after rebate with the purchase of Sylvania Silver Star Ultra or select ZXE twin pack bulbs. They'll even help you pick out the right bulb for your vehicle. Visit your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store for details. O Rewards members receive 2 times O Rewards points on select bulbs and up to 4 times points on cleaning supplies for your vehicle. Don't miss the See Better, Drive Safer month now at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or shop online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
The Adam Carolla Show presents Dan Aykroyd's birthday cocktail party for July 1st. Let's see who's invited. Let's welcome the American entrepreneur who founded Estee Lauder Cosmetics. Estee Lauder. Hey, the guy who sang Rockin' Robin is here. Bobby Day. Actor and award-winning director Sidney Pollack is here. Blues vocalist and harp player James Cotton just joined the party. From Blondie, Debbie Harry is here. From the B-52s, let's welcome Fred Schneider. Country singer Keith Whitley is here. Sprinter and Olympic gold medalist Carl Lewis just ran in. Pamela Anderson is here. Missy Elliott just showed up. Steven Tyler's daughter from The Lord of the Rings, Liv Tyler. And let's please welcome Princess Diana. Dan Aykroyd is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Dan's got Crystal Head Vodka. It is pure. It is wonderful. And I consume my fair share on a Monday night. CrystalHeadVodka.com is where you go. I like that song, Rockin' Robin.
Oh, yeah, that's a great 50s song, for sure.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think I'm the most famous on there.
What's that?
I don't think I'm the most famous on there.
I think you are.
Pamela Anderson and Sidney Pollack.
Well, Pam Anderson is recognized from a name standpoint, but not so much from an accomplishment standpoint.
Well, she's done a lot with, with what she was how God equipped her.
Yeah,
and she's a mom, and
She's a mom. My mom is a mom. Who cares?
She's a mom, and she looked good, and whatever she did, and big hit TV series.
You're not helping her.
Book.
You're not helping her.
You know,
You're more famous. You're more respected.
Well, I don't know. I think she probably has more followers on internet-wise. That's fame today.
So are the Kardashians.
That's fame. That's real fame today.
It is, but it's.
Well, we don't want fame. We want to do what we want for a living.
It's hollow fame.
We just want to do what we like for a living.
That's the
fame
blessing.
I don't care about.
That's the blessing.
It is, and you're doing it.
I'm talking to you. I was in, 14, sitting in North Hollywood watching Saturday Night Live going, man, that guy, I recognized your talent as a young person. I was just like, he's a little sharper. The other people they're talented and they're doing these big, broad characters, but your stuff was concise as we started our conversation. And I just remember thinking, this guy's different.
Well, I thank you. That's great. I had a positive impact and maybe influenced you to do what you're doing today.
No, not at all. That was Kimmel. But, Rockin' Robin is one of the only rock songs with a piccolo solo.
Oh, really?
I think it's a piccolo. All right, Dawson.
You
can
Meredith
look it up.
Wilson, the great composer of Music Man. It took him 7 years to write that amazing, wonderful musical, Music Man, right? Meredith Wilson. Mm-hmm. And there was an old fable that he used to tell people, and that was, the king was so pleased with the music of his horn and cornet players. He said, bring me your horns and your instruments, your brass instruments, and I will fill them with gold. And Meredith Wilson said, the musician in the story turned and looked away and said, and there I stood with my piccolo. You can't put gold in a piccolo.
you might be able to roll up $1 and stuff it like you're in a hooker's G-string or something.
I think, yeah.
But there's no room for gold, change in a piccolo.
No.
Well, I don't know. If you can look it up, Dawson, maybe we can figure it out.
What I'm finding here is that the first search says piccolo in quotes, which prompted me to say, okay, why is that in quotes? Mm-hmm. It is looking like it is a flute solo performed by famous saxophone player Plas Johnson.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Plas Johnson, that is a saxophonist name right there.
Yeah.
So for you, maybe we're kindred spirits in this sense that I just want to do what I want to do. There's more money to be made doing one thing and kind of being known for that one thing. And, but the blessing for what the business we're in is you get to write a book, you get to go on tour, you get to do a podcast, you just get to do what you want to do. Is that how you feel?
I don't want to really know what I'm doing any given Monday morning, generally. I like to wake up with the week ahead of me and know that I don't have some kind of a set schedule other than when I'm, working on certain projects. So, no, I like the mystery of the way life unfolds, and what it holds. And right now, I just want to play with Jimmy and do the concerts for as long as I'm mobile, and I got 80% of the moves left, and work on the product that I'm proud of that I originated with my 3 partners, and have fun at this age and this time in life and where the rest of the world is. You gotta have fun at what you're doing.
Any plans for any big features in the future? Stuff you've been noodling on?
Not really. No. I'm always writing something, and my youngest daughter Stelly and I are working on a few concepts for television, and but no.
Stella's funny.
Oh yeah, I'll have to send you Dog Manor. Yeah.
Well, I was totally unsolicited, but I was driving to your event at the Magic Castle with someone who said, I took an improv class with Dan's daughter. And I said, yeah, how was she? Because I'm always prepared for the apple to fall a little bit further from the tree than. And she said, oh, she was the best in the class.
No, she's funny. And
then we talked to her at the event for quite some time.
Yeah, she's neat. I'll send you Dog Manor to look at, where she does this English dog lady, and we're working on a concept for for a show, and she did a little demonstrator video. I'll have my secretary send it so just you can see it. Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
And she loves horses.
Yeah,
and wants to get a mini donkey or something. Like
she's got
Schwarzenegger?
a couple of donkeys, yeah, and 2 dogs, and she's just a great person, and my writing partner, and then my eldest records under the name Vera Sola, Verasola, Vera Sola, and she's kind of a folk noir singer, guitarist, a composer, songwriter, and she's got a new single out now called Desire Path, and apparently part of it's about me, and I don't know, I'm still trying to decipher what part of it's about me, but she has a great new video out. She's such a crunchy guitar player and vocalist. I'm very proud of her. Yeah, and then the middle one is an Irish rep off-Broadway alumnus. She did a Eugene O'Neill play there after ACT studies in San Francisco and Reed College, and so I'm very proud of the girls. Yeah, they're great. They're great.
And so for you, spirituality, UFOs, the great beyond, that whole world, people talk about it. I'm not really in any lane. I don't have strong thoughts one way or the other about it, but I think you do.
Well, spirituality and UFOs, I don't know whether they're linked, other than perhaps that we're all God's creatures, even these beings that have these hyper-advanced craft. They seem to be organic and humanoid and intelligent. I guess there's a link there that they maybe, if they're beings, they have spirit. As far as spirituality, I am a spiritualist, like just people could say, oh, I'm a Catholic, a Protestant, a Scientologist, I'm Jewish, I'm Muslim. I say I'm a spiritualist. And it comes from my family's longtime interest in the belief that not only does the soul survive in energy after death, but the consciousness can also survive. And so that brings us to the concept of mediums and mediumship and channeling and seances. And there's a community in upstate New York called Lilydale near Chautauqua, and they're registered licensed mediums there that you can go to in the summer and go to their houses and get readings and try to contact those who've gone beyond. And the results are quite stunning and quite credible.
Have you been able to contact anyone who's passed?
I have not had myself any vivid experiences in seances, but I've heard some just great stories, about how the medium can knows nothing about the person, doesn't know the name of, the name of a pet, the name of someone who's gone before, an address. They pick out things that only the deceased person would know. In multiplicity of these events and seances. So enough of that anecdotal evidence piles up, and you got to go, yeah, there's something there. Yeah.
So what's your overall view of, like, we're talking about John Candy, we're talking about John Belushi, such amazing spirits, such crazy energy while on this planet, been gone for a long time.
I have.
What is your sort of general take on where that energy went?
I believe that both of those guys were immediately assigned to other entities, to
like
the unborn.
Reincarnation.
They went off. That they were too vivid, and they were too contributive, and too positive, and too giving, and too talented. That energy there not to survive in its own way. So I think they went on to other assignments. I like to believe that.
I'd love to believe it too, but I always think about this stuff. And I think this way about religion sometimes too, which is how much of it do we think is factual is not the right word, but how much of it is just our yearning for this, you know what I mean? And this concept of leaving and sort of nothingness and loved ones and friends leaving and us not really being able to connect or cope with that.
I would approach it from, we're not so much, not that it comes out of yearning, but that when good evidence is presented, it is comforting to us. It's comforting that there might be something that goes on beyond. I got a great story, about mediumship. John Edwards was a psychic. He was on CBS for many years. He's a very talented medium. So Franny Drescher and Donna go to John Edwards' show in New York, I think it was.
Donna Dixon.
Yes.
And
so
your wife.
Yes. And we are wife and husband, no longer cohabitating. She doesn't have to put up with the hysterics anymore, but she's great, and she goes with Franny to
She's a beautiful actress who was in
Bosom Buddies and
Bosom
Spies
Buddies,
Like Us. And,
Spies Like Us.
And I have 3 daughters.
and
with her.
TV shows.
Oh,
back in
yeah.
the day.
So she and Franny go to John Edwards' show because Franny wants to reach her grandmother, you see.
Fran Drescher.
Yes. So they go to the show. And Franny's in the audience with John Edwards, and Donna's in the green room watching on television. Well, John Edwards is kind of searching, for references. Franny, he says, I'm getting a uniform. No. I'm getting stripes on a sleeve. No. That's not my grandmother. No. I'm getting a pair of wire eyeglasses. No. Franny's getting frustrated. I'm getting the name. This is John Edwards now. I'm getting, talking to Franny and feeling something. I'm getting the name Morris. And Morris wants to get a message to Steve. And Donna's in the room going, holy Morris, that's Dan's uncle, Morris, who was in the Navy. And his son is Steve. And Morris passed. And so what happened there, Adam, was my uncle elbowed his way through into Franny's trance channeling session with John Edwards, and he to get through. And this is what happens commonly in seances. You'll be going looking for one entity to come through, and another one will say, "I want that channel. Move out of the way." And that's what my uncle did, to say he wanted to get a message to Steve that everything was all right. Franny was upset that his grandmother wasn't reached, but Donna came back to me and said, we got to tell Steve that his dad's okay.
Wow.
So things like that, yeah. They elbow their way through.
And UFOs, been a lot of stuff out lately. I mean, we've been arguing about this since the 60s and the 70s or before, but now, for the first time, it seems like there's some concrete evidence.
Well, there's an office in New York now. It's called the, Washington, D.C., I'm sorry. It's called the All Domain Anomalous Resolution Office. This is the new formal Pentagon investigative branch or office or bureau for UFO reports. So all domain, that means water, sea. They go in sea. They're going to the sea at 1,000 miles an hour, with the medium meaning nothing to them.
Right.
So all domain, sea, sky, air, whatever, Earth, and then anomalous. You can't explain it. It's an anomaly. Then resolution. We have to explain it. We can't have machines like this flying around with our Air Force and our Navy, so we have to resolve it, and the office that does it. So civilian reports are going to be accepted. Military reports are going to be there. Whether you believe or not that these hyper-advanced craft exist with intelligent operators, you may believe it or not, it is a reality.
Have you had any encounters yourself?
I have seen 4 of them.
4?
Yep.
In Canada, United States?
Martha's Vineyard, 2 in Canada. Well, I would say 4. Well, 4 because 2 were at one sighting. So 3 events. Martha's Vineyard, in Montreal, Canada, in downtown Montreal, right there.
How'd you know what it was?
Well, this thing in Montreal, I was with a friend, and we were sitting there on the 23rd floor of the Queen Elizabeth Hotel doing some promotion for Patron Tequila at the time that I had in Canada, and we were there in Montreal. In the Queen Elizabeth Hotel, 23rd floor, gray February day, and we were sitting watching the spiders on the 23rd floor in the window. They were going up and down like yo-yos, Oh, geez, that's an interesting phenomenon. We're sitting there, and then my friend goes, "What's that? What's that?" I said, "What?" And I look out, and coming down St. Catherine Street is what I can only say hit my mind first as a Macy's Day balloon. It was a Thanksgiving balloon. I'm thinking, oh, they've got some kind of a parade coming, but I'm thinking it's February. There's no parade. It's winter. It's gray. There's nobody out on the streets watching a parade. And I watch this thing come closer. It's about 50 feet wide. It's 150 feet long. It's maybe 20 feet high. And underneath, it looked like a bunch of grapes, like round, bulbous growths underneath, or mechanism underneath, and it parked 50 feet off the window. We were able to look at it for a full minute, and it just sat there silently, big gray object, really, no lights on it and everything. And then it turned, and then we ran out in the hall and we watched it just drift out over the St. Lawrence River, just slow.
And there must have been others that saw this.
I don't know. I never reported it, but we were, when you see something you know is not a helicopter, a meteoric bolide, a jet, a plane, a balloon, we know this was a craft, machined and controlled by, I don't know, robot, AI, what, but it just sat there silently. And I have a couple of books on UFOs, and I looked up and I saw one that kind of looked like it with the bunch of grapes thing underneath that had been reported in other sightings. And just to have another person there,
yeah,
and her reaction, what's that? I'll never forget, what's that?
So what's your head on it? Is it that they're coming here to observe, or they don't know who we are and they've sort of lost their way?
No, they know. They know. Many different, I would say, as Lord Hill Norton there, the aerospace attaché from the British government there, or he was, I think, a deputy minister in the British government. He said there are 23 different species visiting that he counted. Mm-hmm. They're here for many reasons. They know who we are, for sure. Many of them do. Many of them know who we are. Many of them care who we are. Many of them are benevolent. Many don't care who we are, couldn't care less, and they're just tripping through. Many are tourists. Like if you look, the Stingray UFO, you look up that Stingray UFO, you're going to see a picture of a craft. It looks like a Corvette with no wheels, but with a stinger out the back. That is commonly seen. Then you have the Mexican humanoid UFOs, where you have guys that look like they're in a rocket pack, but they're up there at airline height. And a rocket pack don't go above 150, 200 feet.
Right.
And so if you look on the website, just those two alone, Mexican humanoid, flying humanoids, Mexico City, and you look at the other events that you see all around, the Stingray. There's a guy here taking pictures of them in Marina del Rey. The helicopters, police, sheriff, and fire are all complaining sometimes about how they buzz the helicopters out here at Marina del Rey. So many different types, many different types, many different species, many different interests in humankind, ranging from tourism to straight up abduction and medical extraction of fluids, like that happened to Barney and Betty Hill. You know that story.
I've heard that story.
That's a great one. That's pretty vivid.
I was kind of dubious, all throughout my life, because all I had was Leonard Nimoy telling me about it and super grainy pictures and a lot of stuff.
Now we have radar
happened in Nevada,
camera.
but now.
Yeah.
Now it's documented.
Yeah, we have radar but here's all kinds of other stuff that's going to come out. The Aero office that I just mentioned is going to start releasing other stuff too.
But here's an interesting, on a psychological note. And I've been saying, so if you're of a certain age, you realize we've been discussing this my entire life. And debating it and arguing over it, and many a TV show and a movie and so has been dedicated to this subject. And now it seems as if we finally have some definitive information. It's coming from the government. It's coming from Navy pilots and cameras inside their cockpits and things like that. And nobody seems to care, which is very interesting. And I think it's because we've become in such crazed narcissists and we're all staring down at our phones that we don't look up into the heavens anymore.
Well, that's a lot to do with it. But I think it's more that we have really vivid concerns on this planet other than who's visiting and who cares about us or not that have these craft. We have, worldwide famine. We have wars. We have, we have violence. We have gun crimes. We have so much in the world.
But that existed in the 70s.
Not in the extreme that we have today, I don't think.
Well, I mean, we talked about it in different terms. We talked about ecology and the ice age. Now we're talking about global warming and. Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying we always had problems. We always had the inner city, and we always had skirmishes. And as I always comically say, I said when I would watch SNL, in the 70s and they started with the news segment, they'd start oftentimes with trouble in the Middle East. And I said, that's 50 years ago, and it's a comedy show, and they started with trouble in the Middle East. So, I mean, we've always had this, but we carved out room to obsess over UFOs, even amongst the strife we have on planet Earth. We just don't seem as interested anymore. I think it's a psychological thing.
Well, I think that exposure in the news media will take care of that once they start distributing some of the footage that they have. More people would get interested. But again, they're not going to come down and solve these problems. They should. They shouldn't be holding back. In fact, you have
UFOs or the
say you have an intelligent being that has one of these craft that can do what they report. They should be hovering above countries in Africa, purifying their water, providing basic materials for shelter. They should be, if they're here visiting us, they should help mankind. They're not going to do. They should take a magnet and get all of the guns in the world and just suck them up into one of the vessels. They're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So we humans have to are down here trying to solve those problems. But if I could directly address them, I'd say, get the magnet, get the water purifier. You know, you got the technology. Don't be so selfish. You've been coming to this planet as tourists and enjoying the sights. Now help us out.
Yeah, alien privilege.
Yeah.
I think they call it.
That's right. That's right.
All right, well, let's end on a funny note. Crystal Head Vodka is the name of the product. It is pure. It is delicious. It's a conversation piece.
Thank you.
You should treat yourself to this work of art.
Yeah,
outside and inside the bottle.
Thanksgiving
I would say.
Thanksgiving and Christmas, great gifts.
Show up with that.
That's right.
Instead of your dry ass stuffing this year. And really make an impact.
That's it.
Dan, this has been a treat for me.
Oh, thank you, Adam. Thank you. Say hello to Jimmy.
I shall.
Yeah.
And let's do it again whenever you're around.
For sure. Absolutely. This was fun. And you like cars, too. That's another thing you like is cars. And
yeah, I want to check out your Pierce Arrow, did you say?
Pierce Arrow, yeah.
What year?
32, 1604 limousine. J. Edgar Hoover had an identical car.
Wow.
To the one I have, yeah.
God, people don't realize how many American car companies there were in
Packard,
this country. Duesenberg.
Yeah,
lots of
Cord,
American. Cord.
Auburn.
Cord was the first front-wheel drive car, one of the first, as I recall.
Yeah, of course, Studebaker, Hupmobile.
They just kept going
Terraplane,
and going.
Yeah, Hudson.
All right, well, we'll talk cars next time you're here because I got all Paul Newman's race cars.
Yeah, right.
So we can can delve into that. Go to AdamCarolla.com. I got shows all over the country. Go check out CrystalHeadVodka.com. And until next time, this is Adam Carolla. For Dan Aykroyd, saying, Mahala.